That's what she said. She says, I received the legislation, the ordinance, on the front, it says the link was delivered to you. That's right. Well, if you look at the document. Go ahead. It says, and while the draft of the lease filed with the clerk on April 21st, he said I had all this coming in the ordinance. So, I think it's gonna help. It is. You asked me to come. I'm telling you. You told me.
Councilman, can you come down, please? You got a few seconds.
What's up, Peter? We're all dependent. We're all dependent.
They were supposed to address those last week.
The meeting of Shreveport City Council is now called to order. I will ask Vice Chair Green to lead us in the invocation, and I will ask Councilwoman Taylor and the lovely Black and Gold to lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, Lord, for this day, and thank you for this opportunity. We ask you'd come in our midst, and we invite you into our meeting, into our city, into this nation. We ask that we would govern ourselves according. We ask that whatever we do today for the good of the city and for the good of our citizens, that you will get the glory. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all those who are in your black and gold, you look lovely, Mr. Mayor, City Attorney,
Looking so
Councilwoman
lovely.
Taylor,
Looking so lovely today. Give
Councilwoman
yourself-
Bowman,
give
Councilman
yourself a
Butcher,
great
in your
big-
black and gold. I see your black and gold. I appreciate that.
Ooh, this is painful.
Y'all look so lovely today.
This
Give
is
yourself a great big hand.
painful. When I say painful, painful.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor, I'm here under duress. Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro. Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
I'm here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Is it a snowstorm outside? This sweater he has on?
Tomorrow, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Conference and Special Meeting Monday, September 9, 2024, and the City Council meeting Tuesday, September 10, 2024. Does any council member have any award recognition or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to introduce Miss Casey Kilpatrick Baird like Baird Road. It's hard for me to say Casey Kilpatrick and add the Baird because we went to high school together, so I've known her just as Casey. But she's with Go Bags of Louisiana, and it's a very interesting nonprofit that she heads up, and it's got a very interesting story. But I just thought it'd be nice for us to kind of hear what she's doing and how she's impacting not just Northwest Louisiana, but the whole state, and now she's even going over into Texas. So, Casey, it's floor's yours.
Casey, tell them what district you live in.
I'm right outside of Tabitha Taylor's District A, but our warehouse is in District A. I'm in Blanchard, so
Good.
That's okay.
thank you. I appreciate that. I grew up in Broadmoor, so I'm not sure whose district. Oh, thank you, Mr. Talaferro. Thank you. And that's actually where I started Go for Kids, Project Go Bags. I have always wanted to be a mama, and I finally was able to foster and then adopt the two children that came to me in protective custody of foster care right off of Carroll Street in District C. But when they arrived to me from Webster Parish, and that's how it works regionally, as they go back and forth because there's always not enough foster parents, there was a meth pipe and Winn-Dixie bag that came with my two toddlers that had been criminally abused and criminally neglected from their biological people that couldn't do better. Because trust me, I think anybody would do better if they could do better, but whatever reason, they were incapable. And upon that rescue, there was the meth pipe and Winn-Dixie bag, and I got hot mama mad. And as Grayson knows, that is my temperament, is I've got to do something about it. And I started telling everyone about what happens whenever kids are rescued, that everybody there is just trying to secure the perimeter, take care of the adults, get them where they need to be, make everything safe, get the kids where they need to be. And some of the things that fall through the cracks are some of the basic items and necessities that children need. And that's how Go Back started, is from that need. I started just from the back of my car, had developed it out from there, and it's now in 64 parishes, part of East Texas and South Arkansas. One of the things that I have not done is asked y'all for funds, an NGO. We have done that for Caddo Parish Commission, and I would like to ask for funds and support that so I can make sure the Shreveport Police Department, who's also here today, if they don't mind standing up behind me, just lend their support, that they would like some go backs. They're pretty quick. They stood up. But anyway, that's why I'm here, is because I would like to be able to give them their own set of go backs. Who I've partnered with before is Department of Children and Family Services and the State Police. And that's from, I got a grant from Louisiana Commission on Law Enforcement that I could not have done that without them. In 11 years, we've served over 17,000 children, but I do feel that there are a lot of children that are not receiving these bags, that Shreveport Police Department and Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office would like their own bags, and that's why I'm here today, to let y'all see what they are. I did start out as little bitty toiletry bags, and then now, as you can see, they're about a Santa sack size full of everything they need for the first night. The black bags are for teenagers, and at the bottom it says B for boy or G for girl and their size. It has everything in here that first night. It's a pillow, blanket, backpack, toiletries, note of encouragement, pajamas, underwear, comfort items, just everything that any child will need, because the facts are these are children in crisis through no fault of their own. It is not political. It's not North Louisiana, South Louisiana, East Texas, anything. It's just kids that are coming from hard places in crisis that need these items. I have been very fortunate to have a collaboration with Caddo Sheriff's Office, and that we are in District A in that warehouse until that gets revamped for other issues. And we would like to be able to let y'all know who we are, what we are, who we help is the children of our community. And if y'all could so grant that support in any way, we'd appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, real quick. Casey, I think that the most interesting part of this to me is, and we talk about this with Gingerbread House and Project Celebration, for us to make a real marked change in the city of Shreveport with our crime. We have children that are becoming criminals because they don't have a base. They may be taken out of a bad environment, and then they go, like you said, with a Brookshire bag somewhere with a few toiletries in it, and that's all they've got. But what you're doing, to me, this gives them hope. I said a long time ago, I go and do appraisals in bad neighborhoods, and when you've got a house that's burned up next to you and another house burned up next to you, and you're really trying your best to go to school and do things, but then you see the crack dealer on the corner that's driving a brand new car, that's all you aspire to be. But with an organization like this, giving these children that are in crisis, that are either being taken away because of violence or a crime has been committed or something like that, and if our officers had a bag to give them that said, here, we care about you, it means something. I think the most important part of what you said is just an inspirational letter that you put in all your bags saying things are going to get better. I think that's important. So I thought it was important for you to be here today and kind of explain to the council, because a lot of us, didn't know what Gingerbread House did at one point or what Project Celebration did until we started educating ourselves, thus educating the public. So thank you for what you do, and I appreciate you coming up. I'm sure everybody else has got some questions for you.
Unfortunately, I do know what they've done, and they've helped my children heal. Gingerbread House, same way with, I hope that no one really has to experience that, but if you do, you can't unsee what you know.
Right.
And the other thing is, these are notes kids to other kids in their own language, and that if y'all are able to give these funds, it could be whatever kind of crisis they're in. It can be for a flood or fire or tornado or just lack, general lack, and we give that empowerment to the law enforcement officers to fix the need as they see the need, which is what I think would really be impactful to bridge those relationships as well. So thank you.
Had the opportunity to go and work with Casey, and when we were going in, and then we were stuffing the bags, and then looking at the content that goes inside the bag, and it's very comforting for the child who's in trauma at that time, and just the number of people who actually turn and donate these items, for these children, because whatever the traumatic situation is something in that bag that is forever comforting for them. It's something that they can take with them, something that they can hold on to that would, yield a positive memory into a negative situation. So I appreciate all that you do for that. If you ever have a chance to go and help when she's, stuffing the bags, it's quite an experience.
Next Saturday. So just look us up on Facebook or the website. It's all about dignity, and it's about hope and empowerment, and to be able to, we can't say, this generation needs to do better when we can't meet them more than halfway with a pack of underwear.
Correct.
We're talking about the very, very basics. And and people don't take just good intentions. So that's where that's really important and powerful.
Can you tell us again how we can reach you and get in touch with you?
On any of those platforms is GEAUX, bags, BAGS.com. I think we already have a proposal. I think there's several council members that also have my information on Facebook as well. I'll give you my personal cell phone. I don't care.
Whatever gets
However
it,
you want to talk to me, however you want to help me help children is great.
whatever gets it done, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is the average cost of a bag?
It's about $150 a bag for all the contents and the bag itself. It is canvas. If y'all like to feel it, I'd love to be able to take it around and let y'all see it and see how it's made. You can wear it, literally as a backpack, or even that with. I always feel Vanna White-ish on this, but that from
That's
a
nice.
simple duffel. And in the bag itself has a backpack so it's not so obvious. But it's a huge bag for anything that they want to put in it as well, add to it. There's other church groups that give different things to different places. Please then just add it in. It's really just home in a bag for some kids that have nothing.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I help, can I get a bag?
No, sir. You're not a child in crisis.
Mentally. Any other council members have any awards, recognitions, not to exceed 15 minutes? Mr. Mayor, do you have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do not.
Do you have any communication relative to city business?
Only to let you know that obviously Mr. Dark is out on sick leave today, and so you're stuck with me again.
Okay, well, you're a pro now. We gave you that one freebie. We're going to hold your feet to the fire this time.
He should be here tomorrow.
Okay. Reports. Does any member have any questions for Mr. Green, property standards?
Yes. Mr. Green, did you get any calls about, I think it's a burned structure at the end of 1835 Texas?
What street again?
1835 Texas, at the far end of Texas, going into old downtown. It's a structure there that's
Wait.
burned.
Say the street again?
1835 Texas.
Oh, Texas. Not that I remember right.
Have somebody inspect that
Okay.
building? I'll send you a
Okay.
picture. Okay. Session?
Okay. Who that?
Shut up.
I couldn't hear you. Come back to the mic, please.
Wait.
Come back to the mic. Can you speak up?
I have some more addresses. I have some more addresses.
Okay. Who that?
I appreciate that. Mr. Clark, will there be a master plan report today?
tomorrow too?
No, we do not. No, we do not.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that you called me up. I just had a real intense meeting with the consulting firm about the progress that's being made on the updates of the master plan. And they did share with me that they wanted to reach out to the city council and ask the city council to assist them. We're determined to engage every citizen in the city of Shreveport. We may fail, but it won't be from the lack of trying. And they felt that you all would be, if you're so inclined, you all would be very helpful to us as we have meetings in your district. We have community ambassadors that will be trying to communicate with persons in your district. We may need to get you a name of those community ambassadors because they're going to be coming to meetings and all kind of different things in your neighborhood. But I just wanted to come forth and share with you the process has begun. We're moving along. We had our first town hall meeting last Saturday, I think it was. It was, in my opinion, it was pretty successful. Councilwoman Taylor came through and Councilman Talaferro came through. I think it was pretty successful, but we were not happy. We want to put 500 people in Riverwalk Hall. But that was our start. So, like I said, any questions you have, any directions that you have, any suggestions that you have, we will be greatly appreciative of you sharing them with us, and we will do everything we can to make them happen.
Will the ambassadors be arranging meetings in our district? I spoke to one of the ambassadors for my area and given her contact information of like the neighborhood association president. So will they be reaching out to us or is there contact information for them?
They will be reaching out to you to advise you of what's happening with them in your districts. We want to be very respectful. And that contact information will be for them. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Clark?
And one parting thought. How about them boys?
DC4L.
What boys?
DC4L. DC4L. Don't y'all talk about them boys, y'all lost.
We not. They playing like boys.
Y'all lost. Y'all lost. Y'all lost yesterday. Y'all lost.
I'm sorry, my mic's on.
By them dirty birds.
Did everyone receive the budget to actual financial report? Public hearing, there are none. Mr. Mayor, will there be any legislation added to the agenda today?
None that I'm aware of.
Today we'll hear public comments on non-agenda items and agenda items only. Vice Chair, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, sir. Mrs. John Glover. Ms. Glover, we'd like to say welcome to the meeting. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Councilman, and to those boys. Who that? John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 217, Shreveport, 71118.
Ms. Glover, you just earned an extra minute, so take your time.
I wanted to put a question out to not just the council, but to administration as well. Ordinance 40, every time we come to a meeting, it's being postponed. But we never really know the particulars of why it's being postponed. If it is in whomever's power to share with me, a citizen, what is going on with Ordinance 40, that's the G unit lease that has not been completed, if there are those that didn't know what I was speaking to, just so that we can have some clarity of what we are doing here. I was very appreciative to be able to send to you all's attention another agenda item that I had some concern about, but I got an answer to that, so there's no need for me to elaborate on it. But definitely would like to know, why are we continuously postponing Ordinance 40? I mean, if we're not meeting, or if G Unit is not meeting whatever has been asked of them, then let us know that. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Who that?
When we get to that, Ms. Glover, I will allow the mayor or our city attorney to share any light that they are able to on that, but it will be postponed again on tomorrow.
Mr. Keenan Carroll. Mr. Kraft, thank you for coming. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Counsel, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, after that yesterday, I was thinking about February 7th of 2010 and Miami Sun Life Super Bowl 44, 24-17. Manning throws pick six to Tracy Porter. And the cartoon on Monday in the Lafayette Advertiser showed Satan and all the devils huddled up. The fire had gone out. Beelzebub, what happened? I don't know, the Saints must have won the Super Bowl. It's freezing down here. So, you know, and having been to the first game they ever won in the first season, and a week ago this time, I'm at DFW, and I got to do my bucket list, and I'm going to give a little recap. And it was Flight 4401. Of course, stupid here goes up to a Cowboys fan about the size of Shaq and said, "What was your flight number?" And without thinking, I said 4419. And he caught it, the score the day before. And I thought I just kind of oozed out of the way. It was, you know, sometimes the Asperger's kicks in and does stupid things. But I wanted to thank the mayor again and the others. I got to leave last Monday and recite on Constitution Day on the 17th. And I was at the Washington Monument. A real nice park ranger, Mike McKee, he allowed me a microphone. And I got up to Amendment 23, which is D.C. gets electoral votes. Kind of ironic. I was in D.C. Then it started to rain. Then it got really heavy. So I skipped 25, and I did 24 and 26, 27, and then I got some shelter. And then I went to the Jefferson Memorial. I'm still in my costume, dressed as Jefferson. It's kind of cool to do the Declaration of Independence in front of the big statue of Jefferson. So that was real nice, and I encourage each of you. Y'all all have a bucket list. You have something you really want to do you haven't accomplished. Don't wait until you're in your mid-70s. Try to get it done because y'all are still young, mostly. Anyway. Depends on young. You know, AARP starts at 50, so what the heck? And a couple quick reminders. A week from tomorrow night, let's support our neighborhoods and our police and fire with National Night Out. I think it starts at 6 o'clock. If anybody's listening, I'm available to recite at no charge if you want to just get in touch with me, 218-0248. I Have a Dream, I'll do the Declaration, I'll do Shakespeare. I'm not going to do the Constitution, that takes too long. But it took about 28 minutes. And then finally, on October the 5th, join us for 100 years of Broadmoor. And I love what you're wearing. I just wish we could be, you know.
Kraft, thank you.
Thank you. Poor Saints. Averaging 45 points and get 12.
Your time is up, sir.
I know. That's football.
Your time is up.
Mr.
You can have an
Marvin
extra
Muhammad.
minute, Mr. Kraft.
Mr. Muhammad, thank you for coming. You have 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Thank you for coming. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir, thank you. Marvin Muhammad, 1116 Prospect Street. I too was forced to wear this ridiculous shirt today, but I'm still saying, what about them boys?
You have 1 minute
You have
left,
an extra
sir.
minute.
Understood. I rise to speak on Resolution 143, and I have four points that I want to speak on. I deal first with the mayor. I was first concerned that the mayor noted that in his letter that there was I guess some analysis of what was expected to be mold around January 2022. I'm concerned about that. I believe the mayor should have erred on the side of caution and said that we would definitely have someone come in and look at mold. As a contractor in the city of Shreveport that has a mold certification, I know the incubation period of mold in a 2.5 year time period is indeed a problem. The second point I want to deal with the administration on is lack of funding. Here in 2024, we just passed a $256 million bond proposal. Yet, in his letter in response to the council, he said there was somewhere between an $8 and $9 million shortage. My question is, when was that determined? And if it wasn't determined, why wasn't determined? And if it was determined, why wasn't in the 2024 bond so we can move forward with the new facility? My second, to close out, I do have 2 points of contention with the council, Councilman Butcher and the council members that signed the letter. In the letter, I think Councilman Butcher said that it was a morale issue. I think that the writing of the letter itself is problematic because it suggests that Chief Smith and the top brass isn't concerned about the rank and file. I think it suggests sneakingly, if you will, that he's, if not deliberately and intentionally not concerned about their health, that he's at least aloof. And I think that's a problem. The second thing that with the council is that with over somewhere between $3 and $4 billion of economic development opportunities in the city of Shreveport, that this is the main topic that we're dealing with the city of Shreveport. There's $2 trillion worth of economic development opportunity at the port right now, another $2 billion across the city of Shreveport and Bossier. And instead of us coming up with programs and initiatives with LED Fast Start, with building economic development
Thank you.
grants and many loans.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Jermaine Anderson. Mr. Jermaine Anderson. Thank you for coming, Mr. Anderson. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. I've been speaking on an ordinance for landlord retaliation. I don't know what has been put in place for this parish, but I've always wanted to have had that put in place for us as tenants. So what is going on with that, as far as the ordinance is concerned?
Your Attorney General's office has something for tenants' rights already in place.
Like, I'm speaking for us on here, like in the parish level, like locally. I'm not speaking on the state. I'm talking more
But
like.
it would transcend over into the parish and into the city.
But landlords I think some of them are still doing it though.
No, it supersedes that.
It is?
Yeah, it's in place. Whatever those particular rights are, you can enforce.
Well, I don't know. Okay, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, that concludes public comments.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
In the clerk's report, you have some appointments, including a Mr. Montrell Hall, and I just wanted to let you know that he is here if you have any questions. That is a recommendation made to me, and I have passed along that to appoint him to the Architectural and Engineering Select Committee. And he's here in case you have any questions. It's not up for confirmation until 2 weeks from now.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Similarly, Mr. Jimmy Herring, who is up for confirmation tomorrow, is here. If you have questions for Mr. Herring, please wave your hand, Jimmy. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Hall or Mr. Herring? Thank you both for being present. We will have executive appointments to consider tomorrow. There are no items on the consent or introduction to be adopted. Mr. Mayor, would you please proceed with regular agenda legislation?
Yes, under resolutions on second reading or which only require one reading, the resolutions 128, 139, 140, and 141 all concern connections along Wallace Lake Road to the city's water and sewer system.
Mr. Mayor, on the Springfield Baptist Church, I thought we already voted on that a few weeks ago.
We did.
I'd have to defer to somebody from water and sewer
We
to
did.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, Mr. Sneed, would y'all mind looking into that? The one on the Springfield Baptist Church, I believe, was approved. The others, I'm gonna postpone because we're talking to the parish about some things. So I'm gonna postpone those probably for another couple of weeks. Thank you.
Ordinance 142 is a resolution that would establish your intent to specify projects to be undertaken from the first sale of $88 million. There's a list of those projects. They were primarily selected because they are as close to shovel-ready as we can get, and I know that y'all wanted us to move forward. Obviously, there is room for discussion of that. It does not have to pass tomorrow. So if you would like to have some further discussion, we're open to further discussion on that. We would like for you to pass the ordinance to allow the sale of the $88 million. And Mr. Busada will be here later in the agenda when we get to that point. That one's on second reading. Ordinance 143 is an ordinance sponsored by the council relating to the condition of the police station. Ordinance 144 is your approval of my decision to extend declarations of public health and safety with respect. These are, I think, all three Shreveport Amar Holdings properties. They were the subject of emergency declarations. Those could only extend for 90 days without your approval, and we are asking for your approval. And 145 would recognize Pastor Eduardo Ed Gonzalez, and that is sponsored by Councilman Talaferro.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Thank you. On item 143, Mr. Mayor, I was very disturbed when I heard about your conversation on the radio about this particular item, that the sponsors of it it was political. And I would appreciate that whatever, instead of on radio, that you would have to say to me. I would prefer you say it to my face and make it make sense. Councilman Butcher, he was not the sponsor. He joined in, but you called him. And I guess you was upset with him because, from my understanding, he teamed up with those people who would be considered Green and Taylor. It was said that we were doing this because it's political. Has nothing to do with right and the officers and their health. Now, let me just explain to you what I think political is. Political is having a fake groundbreaking over on Monkhouse Drive. I went through there today. The dirt that we had some months ago, grass is growing up in it. There's no work there. The sign that we put up, it seemed as though it cost about maybe $15. By the time whoever put it up, by the time they got where they was going, it was down. When I think about political, I think about when you ran for office, you had a crime package. And of course, we are yet to see that particular package. So when we talk about being political, There was nothing in my brain about our police officers. When you all came into office, you already had $69 million to take care. Of course, the fire station is up. They put out fires. I congratulate all of them. But crime is a #1 issue. We can't even get one substation, and it's almost 2 years. I think that when we talk about all of these landlords as to what they do, then we got to take care of our own. And then I heard that that was on the council before that we didn't do anything. For the public to know, the council does not handle day-to-day. The council job in the charter is to come here each second and fourth Mondays and Tuesdays to deal with legislations, whether we reject it, whether we pass it or postpone it. That's our job. We don't have the checkbook. We don't carry the checkbook. That's not for us to do. But when you all came in, you had $69 million. And all I've heard is that, well, the bid was over then. I guess a week ago, Mr. Dart called me and said, well, we came under bid. I said, well, when do we get started? He said, well, I don't know that, but I just want you to know it came under bid. He said, well, it's not mold in the police station. It's mildew. So if mildew is not bad, then I would just suggest that maybe you get a bucket of it and put it in your office, leave it there until the police station is fixed, and see what happens. And so this council, the council before that Councilman Taylor and Councilman Butch and I was on, we did everything possible for the police department, fire department, all the department. We did our part as to voting on whatever legislation. We've gone out every time the police, we need a Bearcat, we need a whatever. This particular council has worked together and we've done our due diligence. And Mr. Mayor, for you to say that what we're doing because we're asking to just get our police officers out of there before they get sick, some might already be sick, then it's political. We have done our job. Every piece of legislation, in fact, I don't know of any legislation come from an administration to say, we need to get the police this or we need to get the police. We've done our due diligence. And I commend everybody up here. It has never been, well, let's wait. We've done our job. And so we're doing our job and we've done our job. And then to go on the radio and not call to say, hey, look, why don't we do this or why don't we do this? This building is available, this building is available. To go on radio and to basically grandstand that we just doing something cause it's political. I'm termed out, so I ain't trying to do nothing political. How do you fight right? How do you fight right? In fact, instead of on the radio saying, well, we $10 million short, how do we make up for it and how did we get there? So I just think that it was bad taste for you to accuse us three because we wanted to do something that is right and healthy for our police officers and get them out of that building. I don't think it was good taste, Mr. Mayor. I don't know how you feel about it, but like I say, I don't know if we can get a bucket of mildew, put in your office, and keep it there until the substation, the police station is built. And let's just see how you feel every day to walk into a place like that. Let's tear some of the tile out of your nice office. Let's just tear some of it out. The mayor's office was down there before. Move down there with them and stay there until it's over and see how you would feel coming up in there every day. They have enough stress and strain on them already. to go out, and they're doing a great job. Crime is down. So the least that we could do that's in power, the least that we could do is give them a comfortable, nice, clean place to do their job. And I just think that it's bad to fight against right. But as I said, whatever you have to say to me, whenever I make any decision, say it to my face and make it make sense. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Mayor on those agenda legislations?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Taylor?
I have a statement on 142 on establishing the intent. My question is, what is the intent, of this resolution? Because I'm asking because we've never done this before. And once we place this on the agenda, then we're essentially voting to approve or disapprove these particular projects. So why do we have to do this?
It is not necessary that you do it. At some point, when the bonds are sold, you'll be required to pass an ordinance to create the capital budget items for those projects.
Okay, because I figured that all of those particular bonds were already outlined there, and they were already voted on by the voters. And so, are we having another meeting as it relates to these particular bonds?
You will, if you were not to pass this resolution, which you don't have to do, then there would be some further meetings as to how to use the $88 million toward the projects that the voters approved, because they approved $256.1 million.
Okay, have we sold the remainder of the 2022 general obligation bonds?
2021, no ma'am.
Okay, so that's the other concern for me. As we get ready to move into another set of bonds, and then we haven't sold these bonds.
That primarily, I can address that, Ms. Taylor. That is primarily for the police station. That's primarily what hadn't been sold. And because it's not ready to bid, we have not gone to sale on that, so that we would not be incurring interest costs while we weren't quite ready to begin.
When are we looking to move on the police station?
I think I said in the letter that would be sometime next year.
So in the interim, are we going to be reallocating these police officers, because that was the ask? If we know that we have not sold those bonds, and then we're not looking to do anything to next year, given the current conditions of where these police officers are, will we be moving them to another location? And or do we have any other employees that are working in buildings such as conditions as the police office?
I appreciate your asking. We are certainly looking at some temporary facilities, which we were going to have to do anyway, because the new police headquarters will be built on the site of the old police headquarters. So that is something that was already in progress. It's about 100,000 square feet. So it's a big ask, and we are looking at those, and we've made phone calls as late as today about those to try and move those people as quickly as possible. There obviously is a cost involved in that, and we'll be coming to you about that cost.
Okay, so we $27 million for the police station, correct? Is what we have allocated.
That's correct.
How much money are we short on that?
We believe we're short between $8 and $9 million. We're still working with the architect to come up with one that we think is doable within the parameters of the issue, plus some additional dollars.
So within the next 30 to 60 days, are we looking at a timeline or looking at locations where we will be able to move these officers into another location, or what do you perceive the estimated timeline to be? Because for me, as Councilman Green has already said, this is not a political statement for me. This is all about public decency. There's no need for me to fight against landlords, and then if we're being a slumlord ourselves. I'm looking for the fact of when we move, when we have our officers and not just the officers, but the administrative staff, and if there is any other employee that works for the city of Shreveport, no one needs to be working under these conditions. What we need to do is to make sure that we move our officers and all employees into safe working environments. I don't think that it warrants the conversation that it had as far as political statements are concerned. I don't make political statements. I think my record speaks for itself. What I look at is that it's about human decency. There should not be officers coming to work with humidifiers in their offices. They should not have raw sewage falling in on them. They should not have ceiling tiles falling in on them, bathrooms that are not working. That is just unsanitary. We do need to have an updated report as to where we are with this building because the last report was 2022. We need to have a 2024 air quality report on that building and the condition that it's in. But we need to work collectively to make sure that we get our officers and that administrative staff into a safe location. And I say that for them. And if there is any other employees that are working in subpar buildings, we need to be doing the same thing for them as well.
I appreciate your comments, Ms. Taylor, and we certainly will have a timeline for you within 60 days.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Butcher, then Vice Chair Green.
I think that the mayor and I have had a conversation about this, and I understand time restraints, that this is not something that can be done overnight. I do understand that, but we do have several hundreds of thousands of square feet downtown available to put at least administrative staff. It took me on Tuesday morning 2 phone calls to school board members about 2 schools that are in excellent shape that could serve for patrol locations with plenty of parking. So there is availability, and I think that the council, like I told you in our phone call, I think the council will allot whatever money we need to that to get them out of there. One of the issues that I had with the letter was the 2022 environmental study that was done, and saying that it's mildew. Like I told you on the phone, I want to see something current. I want to see something that was done in 2024 that says that mildew has not turned into mold. I'm an FHA appraiser. In fact, I did one the other day, and the house had foundation trouble. I wrote it up and said, I need a current foundation report. And they came back and said, well, here's one from 2021. That's not sufficient. The house could have settled since 2021. We owe it to our officers and that administrator and the citizens, honestly. I wouldn't want to go in there and do an interview for 2 hours, sitting in an interview room full of mold. I was told today by somebody that the AC's out. I don't know if that's true, Chief, or not, but that the air conditioner's out today up there. So I again, with Councilwoman Taylor and Councilman Green, I don't think that the 3 of us have been walking hand in hand politically over the last 6 years. But I do think that we have, when it comes to public safety and emergencies, this whole council is together.
Correct.
And so the letter to me was not political, Mr. Mayor. It was more of a, hey, we've been saying this over and over again in public safety committee meetings prior to you. It's time for us to do something, because when we get calls and emails from police officers and their family saying, please help us because nobody else is listening to us, I feel like I have to act. And regardless if that was wrong, if it went against GOs or whatever, I've heard that. I don't care. I'm an elected official to the city of Shreveport. We do not hold the power to move people, but we do hold the power to enact legislation and to do budget amendments. And when they reached out to us, we just felt like we needed to act. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. It was a consensus of people calling over a week or so. And it's not something that we hadn't heard before. So I want us all to get past where we're at and what's happened, and let's move. And because we've spent a whole week talking about who did what and why we did this, and it was political, and this was that, and this was this. I'm ready for us to move and get them out of there. And I know it's not going to happen overnight. I know it's going to take some preparation. I know that. I'm not a child. I'm 53 years old. I've done a lot of real estate in my life. I understand that. But for us just to sit here and continue to bury our heads is not doing anybody any good. So I appreciate having a robust conversation about it, but I've said all I'm going to say on it. I want them out. I want them out of there as soon as possible.
Any other questions or concerns on those? I'm sorry, Vice Chair Green.
Yes, sir. I saw Mr. Daniel come in, and I just want to say that a miracle has happened. I don't know if he left or not, but it was just a joy to see him walk in. I don't know if he's gone or not, but I saw him walk in today.
I kind of saw that too, and I was like, good. It's good to see
Yeah.
him up and around. So
I could say he is much better, but he's still sore.
I can imagine.
And I do want us to pray for De Niro, Washington's son, who was involved in an ATV accident. It's a very serious accident. So he should be going through surgery this evening. So please pray for his son and his healing.
And while we're on prayer, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would you also include Ralph? He's going to have surgery in the morning on his eye, and he's asking prayers of the saints. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mayor, I do want to follow up on Councilwoman Taylor's concern on 142. The breakdown of the 88 million, is this resolution just telling the citizens how that first 88 million of that 256 will be spent and what it's going to be spent on?
That was the intent, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
But I guess my question to that is, if we're still looking at how we're allocating money from the 27 million, and then we've never had to do that before, I still don't understand the purpose of that if it's already outlined. If it's already outlined, it's already outlined. Why do we need to do a resolution for the intent?
As I said earlier, you don't?
Yes.
What was the intent from the administration?
We wanted to, well, we were actually asked by y'all a couple of weeks ago if we would, how you would know what projects were going to be done first. This was our attempt to give you that information.
Okay. Any other questions on those regular agenda legislations? Mr. Mayor, would you please proceed with introduction of resolution not to be adopted prior to October 8th, 2024?
Yes, sir. 146 is another one of those cooperative purchasing agreements. The parish of Caddo wants to tag along to one of our bids for a boom truck. Ordinances 147 and 148 have to deal with the situation that arose in Ms. Bowman's district out on Pines Road, where we had some destruction to Pines Road and some areas. The company has agreed to pay $50,000 to repair the road where the damage occurred. 149 is the approval of an assignment from Cypress Energy Partners of 4 oil and gas leases to Paloma Natural Gas. Ordinance 150 authorizes the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the city and the state that relates to the receipt of funds from the capital outlay program for what we hope to be a future Amtrak platform statement, platform to receive, to house an Amtrak station in Shreveport. 151 is a similar agreement between the city and the state relating to bayou pair drainage and recreation. This is, I believe, in Mr. Butcher's district. It is a project that has been planned and been working on by Senator Thomas Presley. Ordinance 152 is a cooperative endeavor agreement to receive funds for work on the University Park subdivision improvements. I think these are funds that Ms. Taylor was instrumental in getting from the state of Louisiana out of the capital outlay program. Ordinances 153 and 154 basically the same. They just relate to two different entities. This has to do with the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement. This is for the lofts at the corner of Louisiana and Texas, where on the first floor is where Rhino Coffee is. There are two of them because there are two different entities that each own a part of that project.
Mr. Mayor, on the Bayou Pier, what exactly is that saying? For some reason, I'm not able to pull it up very well.
Senator Presley was able to acquire some funds. He had acquired some funds for the previous year. It is designed to do some walking trails and
Good.
some other recreation in that area.
We have been, I think, Ms. Regal and I have been talking about that, so that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Should impact your district as well, Jim, and some Gary's too.
How are we looking with Amtrak?
There was an additional grant given for the I-20 section that was given to the Southern Railway Commission for additional study. So we've taken one more, I wouldn't say it's a baby step, it's probably a toddler step toward that project.
Any other questions for introduction of resolutions? Mr. Mayor, would you please proceed with introduction of ordinance not to be adopted prior to October 8th, 2024?
Yes, sir. Ordinance 112 would amend the 2024 capital improvements budget to create some additional dollars for a third substation. As you're aware, the funds that have been received from the 2021 bond issue were sufficient for 2, but not for 3 substations. This is the allocation. This would be the allocation of funds to proceed with a third substation, which we intend to have in South Shreveport.
Do we have a location in mind yet?
There are several locations that we're looking at, including one that you have suggested, Mr. Councilman.
Thank you.
2026.
113 gives a name to an unnamed roadway. It is River Park Way over off of East 70th Street. 114 amends various articles of the Unified Development Code for purpose of adding new definitions related to sober living homes, which are a relatively new phenomenon that have created some issues in neighborhoods that MPC is interested in trying to tie down. And ordinance 115 is zoning case number 24-91C, which would amend the zoning map to change property in Mr. Green's district from RMHP Residential Mobile Home Park to RMHP Spud, which is a small planned unit development, residential manufactured home park.
Mr. Clark, if he's familiar with that.
Mr. Clark, you come up to the mic, please.
Mr. Clark, 115, you familiar with it, or do I need to give you some time to research?
You're talking about the one that was just read about the mobile home, residential mobile home park?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Basically, you have a mobile home park that they want to put a couple of uses in, a community center and one other use. And the only way that they could do that, because it's not allowed in the residential mobile home park zoning classification, was to do a SPUD, and SPUD, small planned unit development, is anything less than 5 acres. So it's just to add just some amenities to the manufactured home park.
Have they had a meeting with residents in that area already?
I would think they have. I could have that information for you tomorrow. Sir.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, would you please proceed with ordinance on second reading and final passage?
Yes, sir. Ordinance 40 is one that's been on the agenda for quite some time. We have been making substantial progress with the G-Unit folks, and we would hope to have something before the end of October for you. We had a long meeting with them last week, city attorney, myself, and a number of other parties. So We will be moving forward with that. It was primarily delayed as a result of all of the personnel being sucked up into Humor and Harmony. Ordinance number, and so we are requesting that you postpone that tomorrow again. Ordinance number 70 has to do with vacant structures. I have been meeting with interested property owners and other citizens to develop some amendments based upon the comments that were received at a public meeting earlier, and that is one I'm also hoping that will move on your agenda by October 22nd, but we would like for you to postpone that tomorrow. 87 is a zoning case 24-95-C, which was postponed, and I believe that there is an agreement between the neighborhood activists and the applicant concerning how to handle this one. 103 and 104 are amendments to the Unified Development Codes that basically will permit mixed use, for example, residential and commercial use in certain areas of the city under certain circumstances. Ordinances 107, 108, and 109 are amendments to the capital improvements budget that will provide for funds, some federal funds and a local match to purchase, I believe this is to purchase 40 additional buses. Amendment number 110 is to amend Chapter 14 of the Shreveport Code of Ordinances relative to owner and dealer responsibilities for animal control. This is to synchronize the city animal control ordinance with the parish animal control ordinance so that it will be easier to understand. We don't actually enforce the animal control ordinance within the city limits. The parish does that, and it's helpful to them that we would have the same requirements in each parish so that the same animal control officers know what they're supposed to do and what's legal, what's not legal. Ordinance 111 is the ordinance providing for the incurring of debt and the issuance of not exceeding $88 million of GO bonds, Series 2024. And if you have any questions, Mr. Busada is here.
Mr. Busada.
Ma'am.
So as we move on these bonds, on this 88 million, you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm still gonna go back to 2021 and to those bonds not being sold. And we're getting ready to move on these bonds right here, and then we have a shortfall. How is this making sense?
So one of the things on the bonds, we can't issue you can't issue the 2022 bonds now unless you can reasonably expect to have all of that money spent within 3 years, and about 75% of that spent within about a year and a half. And so if you go ahead and sell those now, and you're not able to complete the project because you don't have money, then you could risk these becoming taxable bonds, and the IRS would come back on the city.
Okay, so we haven't done anything with that. So how are we gonna move on this one? So if we do this right here with this 88 million.
Right. So one of the things, that was one of the things you asked about the resolution earlier. That was one of the things that we have added. And there's going to be several new things in the process to really get us to best practices. I just got back from 3 days in Chicago at the National Association of Bond Lawyers Conference. I'm the former chair of the Government Affairs Committee nationally. And so we're always looking at new best practices to put in place. The purpose of this resolution was to make sure that the council has the full authority and the full direction to vet these projects. Because when the voters approve them, the voters are approving generally the projects that were outlined in that report. But we wanted to go beyond that. We wanted to make sure that the council was able to decide what those final projects were within that report. And so that's what this resolution is. Is it absolutely necessary? No, we could do it as part of the budget process, but it's better to do it now ahead of the budget process so that we can provide it in the offering documents to show that y'all are okay with these projects.
It's kind of concerning me to do it before the budget process, not knowing how all of that money is really going to be allocated.
And the good thing about it is, and the reason that this is in a separate resolution, is because it just provides intent, and we notify investors that that can change in the budget process. Basically, what we do is what investors like to see is a very transparent process for how you're going to use the proceeds of these bonds. And so what we're doing in this one, which is different, is we're basically letting them know this is what our process is going to be. The city council will review these on an annual basis, make determinations as to what projects we're going to go forward. And we've listed every specific project that was in the study so that they know with a lot of detail. Typically, that hasn't always been done, but that's something that the markets and regulators like to see, is that you're listing all of those with pretty specific detail, so that they understand how the money's going to be used, where the money's going to be used, and what it's for.
Because that was my next statement, that the city council typically already does that anyway, but you are the ones with the pen of where these particular projects are literally going to go. All we're doing is, here's the money that is allocated. You all are the executive, not you, but they are the executive branch, and so they're saying X, Y, and Z. And I'm not trying to just put the cart before the horse in that particular regard, because I'm still overly concerned at this point that we still have this money here that we haven't even touched yet. We still have a police station that is not built, and then we're moving on this with the taxpayers as well with these other things. So that's just a concern for me.
Vice Chair Green.
Yes, sir. Let me ask you this, and I'm just asking. Do you think at the rate that the cost that stuff is going up, do you think the police station, with the money that we have, will ever be built? Because the longer we wait, it's not like people are saying, okay, they're going to build a police station, and what we need to do is hold down the price until they get ready. So say next year, or the next years, when all the plans are ready and we're ready to build, what guarantees us that this money, 27 million, I believe it is, for the police station, however much it costs, what guarantees us that we will have enough money there to build it? And what part of it will we have to cut out if we don't have this amount of money? So what's the guarantee that this is ever going to happen?
No, and I'd love to answer it directly. That's really outside of my purview. If I told you something, I can't answer that because it's really outside of my purview. So I'd have to defer to the finance department and the mayor.
Okay, can they give us an answer to that question, Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Turn my mic on. Yes, ma'am. What we are currently in the process of evaluating those things and working with the architect to make sure that when the design is there, we will be able to build the eventual facility, and we believe that we will.
So, Mr. Mayor, while you're on that, what's the update on the substation in District F? I know Tom said that the bid came in under, I think he said under whatever amount. It was a few dollars. So I asked him, when would the work start? He said he didn't have any idea. So what's the update on that?
I'll have to ask Ms. Regal to give me an update on that.
It's hard to watch the fire stations go up and nothing done for the police department. That's hard to see.
It did go out for bid. We got bids last week. It was under budget, but a little bit. That $1.5 million was allocated, it came in at 1.49, which is about $10,000 under budget, but we were very happy that it came within budget. It'll take us about 30 days to do the contracting process. They'll have to get their bonds. We'll have to secure a contract, and that takes about 30 days to do. We'll give them a notice to proceed, and it's a 257-day project. So hope to get started early November till mid-November, and then it'll take about a year to get it complete.
Okay. Shelley, were you all aware that a few minutes after they had put the sign up that it was down and it's not up? And they, I guess...
We put that sign up about, we found it covering, not that the water department did it, we just found it covering a manhole the last time we found it. So we keep finding it and putting it back up, and it gets taken back down. We'll get another one if it's missing again.
Oh, you won't be able to put this one up because it's tore all in pieces. It's just...
Then we'll have to buy another one to put up. But yes, we've put it up several times over the last 6 or 8 months.
Shelley, while you're here, just real quick, on the substations, there's been a lot of talk about how they were under budgeted. That was a question that I think that some of us on the previous council asked, if there was going to be enough money for these.
Right.
I think that's what I'm having a disconnect with, and I know that Councilman Green just asked you that. I just hate to see us running out of money when we said this is how much it's going to be. Why are we underfunded on that last substation? What happened?
I'm not sure that, we had allocated 1.5 million is what was allocated in the bond issue. I'm not sure, I will say that was a bond issue where Russell and I really did not participate, so I can only tell you what happened since. What happened was, one, maybe there was not any figuring for how much COVID actually cost us. There had not been site selection, and what started happening is, even though you're given a piece of property, North Market, there was still demolition costs. There's going to be costs to build things like parking lots that may not have been considered. I don't know, because I wasn't part of that process that determined the amount we would sell.
Are we over budget on North Market? I meant to ask the mayor that.
We have not received those bids yet. That is out for bid. North Market is, but you did still have some acquisition costs and demolition costs that's probably not figured in, because fortunately at West Shreveport, we were able to figure out how to use existing parking lots and to position that building closer, which actually works better to Hollywood. To the entrance. Yeah, that would be Hollywood, closer that direction, so that we could use existing parking. And the building itself came in within budget. The problem is when you start spending money on those other things.
And I do know, I see construction costs going up all the time. I realize that. But as a council member, it's hard for me to say, okay, we promised you this substation, but we don't have the money to build it. And I don't think that, even though I deal in construction on a daily basis and prices and cost and value and things like that, that's not the hat that I wear. The hat that I wear at this council is to be a legislator and to take the professionals who are actually doing that job at their word. So for me, it's going to be hard moving, which, like Councilman Green said, we're term limited out. So we'll probably never approve another bond as Shreveport City Councilman unless Councilman Green holds out 4 years and runs again.
Well,
That's happened before.
Boge's doing a deal on reconstructing their council deal, so maybe we might be able to stay if we
do a charter deal. But anyway,
we do what they're doing. We always do whatever Boge is doing.
I do take a level of responsibility that my gut told me with the 2021 bond that I wanted to see plans, I wanted to see cost. When I did a bond at Fire District 5, I built 2 fire stations. I had a plan in place. Now, did we deviate from that plan? Yes, but we had a contingency in place and were able to make up that. But when I went to the taxpayers, I had preliminary drawings, I had cost, I had talked to 3 different contractors about it. We had all of that in place. And so I just think moving forward as best practice with the city, where we're not in the position that we're in now, having to scramble to find money for that 3rd substation, I just think that we need to do a better job, whoever. And I know you didn't have much involvement in the police stations.
Not in that one.
Yeah.
The first time we did, Russell and I had worked on that one, and we wanted 34 million. So, when they went back the second time, it was only for 27 million. So
I just think that, for me, I trusted what I was told, and I think that 64% of the voters in Shreveport trusted what they were told as well. And now we're at this position that we're at, and it's not his fault at all. He wasn't even here. But now we're in this position, and I think it's going to be hard for me. Anytime I allocate money or tell y'all to sell bonds, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious.
Councilman Brooks?
Shelley, you just said that you were not involved or didn't have much involvement in the $4.5 million for the 3 substations.
no,
Who was involved?
I'm not really sure. I wasn't, SPAR didn't have anything in that proposition at all, so we weren't really involved in that.
So we don't know who came up with a number that 1.5 million times 3 would work?
No, sir, I don't.
Councilwoman Taylor?
Thank
When is
you.
the meeting scheduled for the bonds to be sold? When is the meeting scheduled for the bonds to be sold?
The meeting tomorrow will be when we adopt, or are you talking about which ones? Let me ask you that. The 88 million?
Yes.
That tomorrow will be on the agenda.
That's for them to be sold?
Yeah, that'll authorize the selling, and then we will most likely post the offering documents in the first or second week of October, and then the sale will be late October and will close in November.
Who are bond attorneys besides you?
William Bradford, Curtis Joseph at Blanchard Walker.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, you may continue. We'll get to the end.
I believe that gets us to the other
Councilman
legislation.
Brooks?
Ordinance 87, the zoning case, I'm going to ask tomorrow that we remand to the MPC with special directions. I believe we worked out an agreement with the property owner and the interested neighborhood associations. And ordinances 103 and 104, the DDA has asked to postpone again until they can schedule a meeting with the MPC. They have some questions. So I'll be asking to remand and postpone those three.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna have a property standards meeting October the 7th.
Mr. Chair, tomorrow, I think Councilman Brooks has called a public safety committee meeting, and we've asked some very good questions about the police station. I would like for us to be able to answer those questions tomorrow as far as where these numbers came from. So I wasn't going to put anybody on the spot today, but you got 24 hours. I'm going to be asking some questions in the public safety committee meeting.
And please don't refer to us as those. Don't refer to us as those. Don't do that. It's offensive.
Any other concerns? Madam Clerk, will there be any other table legislation removed from the table today?
No, sir.
We have no ABO or property standards appeal to consider today. We have no MPC or ZBA appeals to consider tomorrow. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Are there any reports from officers, the boards, or committees? I am kind of sad to say that there's a person on this horseshoe who will be serving their last meeting on tomorrow. So kind of want everybody to prepare their hearts and minds so we can have some send-offs for her.
Anushka.
Where you going, Manoush?
And who gave you permission?
Where you going?
Dang it.
Tell us where you going.
The floor is yours.
Away.
Don't get quiet now.
Where you going?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Ain't nobody told me nothing.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Job well done. You will be missed.
I was wondering why Mr. Edwards had him a nameplate up there. I thought we were all going to be in trouble for something.
Under protest.
Are there any other reports? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
No, sir. Don't go.
Vice Chair Green?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to report it. It's nice to see all of this
he
black
just
and
got
gold
voted
up
in.
here around the horseshoe.
Yeah, that's because the New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago in Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't do too well last week.
Boy, you make me sick.
Any other concerns?
I ain't mad at you for rubbing it in either.
Yes.
I'm not.
Why I can.
Oh,
Executive
Lord.
session, there are none. If there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
Tell you the truth.